Hey everyone, and welcome to our TriZetech webinar. I'm Denis Gagné, CEO and CTO of TriZetech.
And I'm Tom Dovevoice. I'm the CTO and CEO of Knowledge Worker Copilot.
So today, Tom and I are going to discuss why an orchestrated AI architecture wins in regulated and mission-critical environments. So without further ado, let's get into the action. So enterprise AI is now a governance problem. We will show you what a control enterprise AI looks like with observable behavior, case created, email drafted, a global context captured and understood, a process invoked, human approval, step visible. So basically, this is not a chat. This is AI inside an executable governance. So to get us going, we'll start with a demo of the Knowledge Worker Copilot that will leverage the TriZetech platform, but also leverage Plaid as a tool, along with a series of deterministic processes from Fannie Mae for loan qualification. So just to set the stage a bit, Plaid is a financial technology company that acts as a secure intermediary, allowing users to connect their bank account to thousands of other apps and services. So let's move on to the demo right away.
Use the Knowledge Worker Copilot to initiate a loan affordability request for Ima Keller. We are currently in the Google Workspace account for our underwriter, Pat. This demonstration will showcase the capabilities of the Knowledge Worker Copilot agent. First, the Copilot will create labels for the borrower and the related data request. Emails related to Ima will be assigned these labels. The Copilot agent will add the borrower's contact information, set a suspense date for the request on the calendar, and manage other relevant details. The Copilot also provides a dashboard that reflects the progress of the pre-authorization workflow. Next, we navigate to the Copilot agent helper within the Google Workspace chat. We launch the agent by submitting a request to initiate the pre-authorization case, including the borrower's contact information, the requested loan amount, the down payment, and the purchase area zip code. The zip code is necessary for the agent to estimate the insurance and taxes for the requested mortgage. After several minutes, the pre-authorization agent starts successfully. Labels have been created for Ima, and the agent has created the contact and added a suspense date to the calendar. The Copilot dashboard also reflects the workflow status, which is currently set to draft. Pat reviews the drafts and sends an email to Ima. The Copilot has added the Plaid label to the sent email, and the dashboard now indicates that the request has been made. Now we're going to show Ima's email account. Ima opens the email from Pat, which contains a link to the Plaid authorization website. She clicks on that link and completes the authentication steps. In this instance, we are using the Plaid sandbox. The actual process involves logging into the selected banks and granting Plaid access to her account information. Once she confirms the access, the information is forwarded back to the agent. After several minutes, the account information is combined with the requested mortgage amount. The bank then estimates a mortgage payment, applies the Fannie Mae ability to repay pre-authorization rules, and forwards the information to Pat, the underwriter. Ima will receive an email acknowledging her authorization. When we return to Pat, the underwriter workspace account, we see an email from the Copilot containing the results of the mortgage pre-authorization evaluation and a thinking AI evaluation of the data. The dashboard also reflects that IMA has completed the authorization. Pat, at this point, can issue a letter of credit to IMA, or she could ask IMA to make an adjustment to her pre-authorization request. Additionally, we can request the knowledge worker copilot agent to summarize the status and outcome of the pre-authorization for IMA.
Okay, so what we just saw in that presentation basically demonstrates that the agent proceeded using versioned and actions, right? Every action that was shown in that particular demonstration is also controlled by a model. That model is a deterministic BPMN or DMN model, right? And the approvals themselves, if they are mandatory, are enforced into the workflow that you saw. So it isn't merely a stream of large language model prompts working. Those prompts are controlled and versioned straight into the process that controls what we saw. So there's full traceability of what occurs at a much higher level even than what might occur in a business process, because we have all the communications that's associated with that. So let's go to the next slide. So what most of the agents are focusing on is what we call the shadow process, the processes, the swivel chair, the meaningless work, and the other types of investigation and processes that are occurring underneath what can be expressed as transactions or events. So all of those things are well digitized, and they have been very mature technology has been deployed in those. What we're trying to address in the AI agent are bottom, the underneath that's occurring, the shadow that's occurring, that requires a lot more coordination and knowledge worker types of events. So next slide.
So Tom,
Good.
are you saying that basically the top part of your slide there, those are systems that are already in place and are
Yes.
doing a lot of the work, but we need the human intervention to do the work that's below the C line in a sense, and that's where the knowledge copilot can actually help and work?
Yes, thank you for pointing that out. Yes, when we get below the level of a transaction into conversations, meetings, and other events that are only documented in the reports and emails, then we have the shadow processes taking place. So the knowledge worker copilot is focused on providing solutions for those document-based types of requests and communications, approvals, and authorizations. So AI is trying to automate these unstructured workflows, and the autonomous agents have also created some, the reports that we're receiving are that the agents themselves are creating these off-the-book types of processes that are promulgating systemic risk in the organizations that have used them, right? And so they're not really directly addressing the swivel chair dilemma, right? So we have basically fragmented manual data handling loops that are occurring, and some of the tools that are more process oriented that do large language types of coordination are actually creating more work. So what we need to solve this again is a structured governance framework, right? So that we can centralize the decision making that the agents are going to use. So the point is that point-to-point architecture where we're going to API is really beyond enterprise control. So what we want to do is bring it into a structured enterprise approach using guardrails. Next slide.
Yeah, so fundamentally, there are three basic architecture that you can take to address these kinds of problems with AI. One is by using a prompt-centric AI, which is what most of the people are familiar with. It's really fast to build. You can control the prompt, and the control is in the prompt. Unfortunately, the behavior is implicit, often referred to as black box AI, and therefore your audit will suffer after the fact because you don't have that visibility. And if you scale that to a large amount of work and a lot of intervention, then you're basically scaling chaos. Another approach, which is what's being mostly deployed now, is this integration-led AI approach, where you have an API-driven type of environment. In that case, the control of what's going on is within the infrastructure, and your decisions are dispersed between all these different systems or agents that are interacting via API or A2A protocol. But then your visibility is very partial. You have kind of a sense of what's going on, but when you scale that, it scales to complexity. That's an architectural design that we've used in computer science for years and always met problem with scaling complexity. And the last possible architecture is what we're promoting and putting forward is this orchestrated AI type of architecture, where it is a model-driven approach. The control is in the executable model. So the model is actually your control layer. The decisions are very explicit. They're all version and control. You have a fully observable behavior there. And when you scale this, you scale toward governance, which is what we want in general and certainly in regulated industries. So only one of these approaches really make the AI replaceable without losing control. So it's this bring your own AI type of attitude into the orchestrated AIs, because you want the behavior to be owned by your organization, but you want the support of AI to accelerate and improve your efficiency and effectiveness. So let's talk about what kind of architecture we're proposing here. We're proposing what's called a neurosymbolic architecture. And in this neurosymbolic architecture, the AI is the neurosensory layer. It's the layer that provides an observation and sensing of the context and provides you with an interpretation of the context and adaptiveness to it. So this is bringing value we never had before generative AI. So now we're at a point where everything that has to do with sensing, with interpreting context and being very adaptive is wonderful. But then we have that middle layer, which is the symbolic layer. And in this middle layer, the orchestrator that is there to provide the guardrails. It ensures that the business is carried out as per laws, policies, or regulation, whatever may be the case. That layer should be the same, whether it's human executing the processes or it's AI executing the processes. This is what the beating heart of your organization is, and that beating heart is beating according to law and regulation, and therefore should apply to whether it's AI or human doing the work. So the AI is replaceable, but the control layer is the permanent asset that you want to invest in. So let's dive into this architecture, leveraging the Trisotech decision-centric orchestration as the enterprise control system.
So I want to build on the points that Denis just made. So your true enterprise scale AI really requires a neurosymbolic architecture, because that's the architecture that's going to give you the single point of truth and the evidence that you need that you're executing properly. So we anchor our generative AI into
Tom,
BPM.
your voice is coming in chunky a little bit.
How about here? Is that better?
I'm still getting it that way.
So, oh my goodness. Is this any better?
No, I guess just go on and hopefully it's gonna
Okay.
settle down.
All right. So true enterprise AI requires this symbolic architecture, right? And so anchoring our AI into the BPM framework using BPMN and DMN for execution, organizations will create a more predictable swivel chair task. So, and this is going to replace our unconstrained prompts with immutable guardrails, right? Every action is versioned through your CI environment. So we're moving away from fragmented, unobservable automation towards a more absolute tracing and continuous audit readiness. Next slide.
So Tom, you have a robotic voice right now, so people may think you're not a real person and this is an AI.
I am a real person, I swear. They could say that too. So these, again, what you saw with the demonstration was not something that was created through diagrams to execute that. It is leveraging existing what we call package capabilities, right? And those package capabilities especially include what a case management approach. And what I would differentiate between a process diagramming approach for other agentic tools where you're drawing processes from prompt to prompt is that we have a case management approach. Case management provides the map. The map is the knowledge work interaction with what's occurring in the agent that you want, right? The map, and the path, the routes are the selected pre-existing processes that that are pre-positioned to execute the proper thing at the proper context.
And Tom, can you check if you can adjust your audio, because it's really hard for people to understand what you're saying.
Oh well. Is that any better?
Maybe just turn it off and turn it back on or something.
Okay. Is that any better?
No.
Why don't you take the presentation from here?
Okay. Pick it up for now. So basically, the case is your operational guardrail for this. So your case model basically defines the context in which the AI can act. The case will trigger the processes under explicit conditions, and the case will enforce the approval, the milestone, and the policies. So without that case, the agent operates basically in a stateless way, interacting without really context and control. So the Copilot interacts not directly with database coupling required. So the knowledge worker sends a free test request description of the workflow that they want the agent to handle. And the Copilot reads that workflow and prepares a case management plan for that request. So once that case management plan is there, that breaks the request into condition, events, and deliverables, and the case proceeds in an adaptive manner using the speech act theory and pi calculus notions to actually understand what the intent is, what the context is, and what should be done next. So, and this is supported with a conversation that you can have with the plan and the case with the context. And we can also have the monitoring that takes place through the dashboarding to view how the case is progressing, what's been done, and what needs to be actioned. So, as we have seen and described in the last slide, the Copilot creates a case based on operational capability layer. It predefines some case templates. So there's predefined templates of cases, predefined process templates that are deterministic and prescribing how things should happen in general. And it's all an API integrated solution. And these are standardized, reusable, and version capability. What offers flexibility is that AI layer that is adaptive on top. And from an operational infrastructure point of view, we have a persistent case context that store all the information and context for the case. So it acts also as a messaging backbone. There's dashboard and case file, and all the interactions are logged, versioned, and auditable. So this is deployed as a secure, scalable service within your enterprise cloud. So context is very important here. Context is what allows us to move from just chatbots to enterprise AI. And by context, I don't mean here context in the sense of a prompt context window. I mean context in the sense of the business context you're in. We're doing a particular task that is within the business context, and we're trying to achieve the business goal and the business outcome. So that context is a persistent case memory that exists within the platform. Every message is linked to a specific case for that context. All artifacts are versioned to ensure the complete history is present. Every state transition is also recorded, and interaction becomes a structured context rather than just a chat history. So we just don't have a log trace of chat. We have all these different artifacts that are contributing to make a case knowledge graph, which is the graph of knowledge of that context and where we are right now, which is used for the interaction on the front end with the AI and the human stakeholders, and also used as the context for the operational engine that's running on that environment. So the Knowledge Worker Copilot helps you scale from basically experiment to actual operation. It's a human-led augmented intelligence operating within governed cases. So this is really the idea that actual, sorry, I'm searching my word. I have the phone ringing at the same time. So the actual orchestration provides you with a layer that removes the risk that you may have from purely autonomous agents. We're using a decision-centric BPM Plus model that gives you that layer of governance, and we have a continuous process refinement through versioning and execution. So this gives you an enterprise-grade infrastructure. So in conclusion, we feel that the future of enterprise AI is not in autonomous agents, but it is really in an orchestrated intelligence. And in this orchestrated intelligence structure and architecture, what you get is a control layer, a context layer, and an AI layer. Your control layer gives you explicit executable models that are versioned and governed, and it's completely separate from AI prompts. Your context layer provides you persistency of the full case memory, the global business context in which these events are happening, and a full human awareness of the state of the current case. And the AI layer is acting within bounded tasks with observable inputs and outputs, and exists as basically a replaceable model. It doesn't matter which model you use to do those tasks. It is scaffolded in a way that any model, any of the modern model, can do the task given that scaffolding. So basically, AI becomes a component inside the architecture as opposed to being the architecture itself. So we have a bit of time for questions. So if anybody has questions, we have a few minutes. And sorry about the sound issues. That's just live of
am I still
being
breaking
live
up?
on demo. So
Am I
go
still
ahead, Tom.
breaking up?
No, your sound is good now.
So
Okay.
one of my associates pointed out that, well, anyway, so.
So
I guess the final the point I would make, and you made the points very well, is that we're taking the high level view is we're taking a case management viewpoint, whereas the others are implementing processes that and pathways. And in case management, we're adapting to the nature of the communications and the events that are occurring. So that allows us to decide which path to take, which actual process to implement, depending on the context. So that's what is kind of unique to the approach. So
yeah, and it's I find it's very representative of what's happening in regulated industry and business. Is you have the knowledge worker, the human knowledge worker is there to manage the case. They will prepare the case. They will add information to the case when they'll react to that case and make sure they take that case and move it to the desired outcome. We're basically doing the same thing now using AI in this bounded and guardrailed environment so that the AI basically perform as if a human was performing. And that way, you can interchange human by AI, AI by human, but the best benefit that you get is that everything is visible, clear, and according to the policies and laws that you have to respect.
David asked a good question. Where in the infrastructure should the AI component be, and who should own it?
So, do you want to take a crack, Tom, at it?
Well, we place our prompts at strategic points within the workflow, and that implements the speech under the natural language understanding of the Speech Act, and that passes that understanding into the process. So the AI prompts, then they're about 50 of them, and the ones that you saw are part of the infrastructure, and that infrastructure would be tested. So what do you think, Denny?
Yeah, exactly. So that layer of AI is governed, as I mentioned, the operations are governed by the case. The AI is coming outside. Actually, at Trizatech, we promote the usage of external AI from the provider of your choice. Trizatech doesn't do AI itself. It just leverages AI. So you can take a model from any of the model provider, whether it's OpenAI, Gemini, whichever model you want. And in terms of agents, the same thing. You can leverage the agents from OpenAI or from Microsoft Copilot. So because these AI are actually within that governed environment, it allows you to have the choice of what you take. And it also allows you to follow the very, very rapid evolution of what's going on in the market.
Yes, David also asked NLP and RESTful services inserted into workflow. Yeah. Yes, the REST services are at the endpoints of the decisions that are made within the case. So the process decides what needs to be done. Natural language processing, basically, I guess we're out of time, decides the context at the service and what service to call. So exactly.
Yeah. So as as Tom mentioned, we're out of time and we want to respect your time. Feel free to put in more questions. We will try to answer directly to people for your question, or you can send emails to either Tom or myself. The slide and recording will be available. Thank you very much for your time. We appreciate your time, and we hope to have interaction with you in the near future. Have a great day.